Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is the podcast that's committed to helping you build a beautiful business online, create multiple income streams using the internet creatively. You're going to be in a community of a whole bunch of people who are doing exactly that. If you jump into our group, it's free. Our Facebook group has about 78,000 members in it. This podcast has over 6 million downloads at this point. It's a really cool community. You can get details about our community at silentjimdotcom. The links to everything you're going to need are right there. But today I'm going to tackle a topic that I tackled several months ago, but we've added some content that makes this worth revisiting. We've also added a lot of brand new Amazon sellers to our community over the past several months, seeing how we've got the longest running Amazon seller training course in the industry with more success stories than any other training out there that you'll find anywhere, as evidenced by the hundreds of success story interviews that you can hear on this podcast. If you scroll back in time, that's what most episodes are, interviews with our successful students. But in light of all that, we've seen some patterns. And the title today is something along the lines of the mistakes you must avoid in order to succeed on Amazon. We see the Amazon selling opportunity as if not just being among the greatest opportunities of our lifetime, possibly the greatest small business opportunity of our lifetimes. We back it up with facts and data. We talk about this all the time. Amazon has created more millionaires, to our knowledge, than any other company in world history. It's an incredible business opportunity for people who are ready and willing to put in the work and time and effort. But the stakes are a little higher now for especially Amazon sellers than they used to be. I'm not saying it's harder. In many ways, I think it's getting easier because the big trends are all in our favor. People are shopping more online. Amazon continues to dominate the US e-commerce marketplace. There are a lot of good reasons to get into selling on Amazon, and we really do step you through it in a very low risk, step-by-step way if you get into our community. But what we're seeing more and more of is people come almost flying in with their blinders on to this business opportunity, making a lot of the exact same mistakes. And our teaching team, our I should say our leadership team around here, there's about 100 of us. That's all of our coaches, our content creators, the moderators and administrators in our Facebook group, that sort of thing. We see the same stuff popping up over and over and over again. Did you know we've coached almost 10,000 people in e-commerce? We've probably coached more people into Amazon success than anyone out there. I don't have all the stats for the industry, but we've been doing it a long time. And yes, there are some patterns that clearly have emerged. And what I want to do today is spend some time talking you through some of the really bad decisions that you are very likely to make if you come into Amazon selling armed only with your instincts and a few YouTube videos that you've watched. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I don't ever want to spend any money on education. I just want to get the free advice. I'm going to go to the free discussion forums and I'm going to learn what I need. And I'm going to experiment my way into this thing and figure it out. Well, that's cool. And there's plenty of success stories that sound like that. But the game is changing often enough that the odds are you're going to make one of the very serious mistakes that I'm about to share with you. And I don't have time to go super in depth to all of these, but I am going to spend some time on the list of mistakes and hopefully steer you away from making a tragic error, because some of these mistakes that you could make will end your ability to ever have a successful Amazon business. You could get permanently suspended for many of these things. And these are common strategies that are taught in many other communities and in many YouTube videos. Whether the intentions were bad or not of the teachers of this content, maybe it used to work and it just doesn't anymore. Or maybe they just didn't know what they were talking about. Maybe there was some other agenda that the people spreading bad information have. But here, what we have is a track record of creating success stories, a community of people who are supporting each other, keeping each other in line, sharing what really works, the best tools, the best practices, the best strategies for finding great inventory, for building a real business. That's what we do here. So that's what I'm going to talk through today. So here's the list. I'm going to go through, I think I'm going to give a shot at just reading straight through this list. Okay. I'm not going to necessarily spend a lot of time on all of these, But this should at least trigger in your mind, if you listen to this list, that if you're considering doing any of these things, that you need to do some more research. I'm reading from a Facebook post that's pretty popular. This post was first originated in our group. We're coming up on a year ago, and we've been adding to it, and the discussion continues. And you can get a shortcut link right to this discussion if you go to silentjimdotcom/mistakes. We created a shortcut link to go right to this. It's such a popular post that you can spend time in there and talk to others and debate and discuss some of the things that we talk about. These are the top mistakes made by new Amazon sellers. And the link is silentjim.com/mistakes. Let's go through the list. Now spend some time on several of the key ones that you need to be aware of. First, drop shipping. Next, scanning barcodes or spending time in clearance aisles. Next, going into private label as a new seller, trying to build your own brand as a new seller. Next, selling against misbranded and generic ASINs. That's a big one, gets a lot of people. Next, going too deep on a product that you love for any reason as a new seller. Next, chasing wholesale too soon as a new seller. And remember, these are all for new sellers. Some of these things are beautiful as you get some experience. Some of them you never should do, regardless of how experienced you are. But these certainly apply to all new sellers. Because remember, the premise here is I want to keep you out of trouble if you're new and you don't want to spend money on excellent training. You don't want to get a good coach. You don't want to go through a course. I don't know why you wouldn't, but you refuse to do those things. These are some of the traps you could fall into. Continuing with our list. Flipping liquidations, thrifts, or shelf pulls. Trusting anyone who says they have a done-for-you service. Trying to go alone. Trying to figure it out on your own. Like no community, no relationships, no discussion forum. Just, I'm going to figure this out. No, you're not going to make it. Having a poor mindset. That's a big one in any endeavor. But we see it consistently. Bad mindsets sink the most beautiful of businesses. Believing fake wholesalers that they have legitimate inventory. If your wholesaler has an affiliate program, run. They are not a legitimate wholesaler. There's other good ways that you can tell who's legit and who isn't. We'll get into that. Buying from any source that is not brand approved. That is a huge one. I'll spend some time explaining that in a moment. Buying on Walmart from third-party sellers instead of buying directly from Walmart if you intend to flip on Amazon. That's right. You can buy on walmart.com and flip it on Amazon. That's great, as long as you're not buying from a third-party seller on walmart.com. Big mistake there. Setting up new listings and new ASINs on Amazon for any reason. If you're new, you should never do that. Using pay-per-click to try to move bad inventory. Nope, big mistake. Ordering inventory of any kind from any Chinese website or app to sell on Amazon. Huge, huge, huge mistake. It will sink your ship. Being obsessed about trying to win the buy box is a big mistake we see a lot of new sellers make. There's so many videos out there. Oh, here's how you win the buy box. There's a strategy for winning more of the buy box. Huge mistake to focus on the buy box as a new seller. We prove that all day, every day around here. If you're not learning how to use the tool called Keepa from true experts that can help you explore all the different features it has, you're missing out. You're making terrible inventory buying decisions if you don't understand at least the bare basics of Keepa. But there's always more to learn with Keepa. I'll explain why. If you are just taking a trial and error approach to Amazon by watching a few YouTube videos, huge mistake. Next, obsessing over getting ungated. I got to buy 10 units and get an invoice. And you become obsessed with that as a new seller. Big mistake, not necessary. Ignoring your numbers, not knowing your numbers. That's a big mistake. You can think you're profitable when you aren't. Thinking that there's software tools out there or magic easy buttons that you can push that will make Amazon simple for you. No, it's a real business. There's no software or tools or magic easy buttons out there. It's work. It's a business. There's decisions you'll have to make. Now, we do see people in our community. Check out like silentjim.com/the system. That's the story of Kang. You can see a link there to his story. Clueless newbie when it came to e-commerce. He built a $3 million fully automated business, but it took time. He didn't just buy the right software and push the right buttons and build a beautiful business. He actually built software to automate his business, and you can check that software out for yourself as well, but it's still not an easy button. You still have to learn the system, set things up, and then you can turn it over to a team that you trust, a small team. In his case, he's only got a handful of people, less than 5 people, run his whole multi-7-figure business. But he didn't start there. The point I'm making is there's no easy button. It is a journey. You will need to build systems. You will need to work just like with any other business. There's no easy button business to be found in the world anywhere. Never has been, never will be. Business is risk, work, sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, time, energy expended every time. As the Bible says, wealth hastily gained is soon departed. If you think you found that magic formula for easy money, it's not going to last long. You know that. All right, too much time on that one. Let's go down to the next one. Trusting any sales pitch of anyone claiming to teach you how to sell online or build a business or do anything significant. If they don't have a community of people backing them, saying, yep, this stuff works. Here's my success story. If they don't have a community, run. I'll probably spend a little more time on that one because that is arguably the only tip you need of all of them. If you just pay attention to that, you will never waste time on a poor opportunity that's a bad idea. Look for a crowd of people who are succeeding, who are willing to help you on the journey before you start your journey. Simple advice. Most people will never follow it, though. If you're paying for or buying leads from a list, we call them leads lists. Hey, here's all the stuff that's hot right now that you should go buy. Mistake. It's not going to go well for you as a new seller. Never has, never will. If you're looking for profitable products instead of looking for test-worthy ASINs or underserved ASINs, guess what? You're going to struggle. Here's how to avoid all those issues. If you just want to skip to the good part, get the Proven Amazon course, provenamazoncourse.com, or have a conversation with us about getting a mentor and a coach who can walk you through this process and help you avoid all of these disaster scenarios. You can go to silentjimdotcom/book a call to get on our schedule, and we'll have a conversation with you, help you navigate your path forward. And maybe you're right for getting a coach or a mentor. We'd love to talk to you about it, but we'll certainly leave you with a lot of great free and low-cost resources as well, if that's a better path for you. But let's get into the list. I'm going to go back up to the top and talk through some of these. Drop shipping. I'm not going to dive into it. Don't do it. If someone's talking you into it, as a new seller especially, they're talking you into a disaster that will almost certainly end in you losing your account. Here's a tip for you. Remember that one I gave you? The only tip you really need? Go find a community of successful people who are implementing the strategy that you're about to attempt. Not just one or two people that claim to be successful. I want to see hundreds. I want to see thousands. I want to see a whole bunch of people hanging out, talking about the rough edges, what does and doesn't work, what's changed since 2 years ago. I want to see that. I want to see a robust, active community full of success and positive energy before you consider any business opportunity in e-commerce. And you simply won't find that for the dropshipping community. You just won't. Why? Because it doesn't exist, because it's a disastrous business model. Next, scanning barcodes. A lot of people think that selling on Amazon means scanning barcodes, looking for cheap discounts. That's not it. You're spending time on a very frustrating model. It's like a hamster wheel business model. We just run, scurry, and don't really go anywhere. You make a few dollars, put a few dollars in the bank. You think you understand Amazon now. You don't. If you're spending time scanning barcodes, you do not understand the beginning level Amazon selling opportunity that we teach in our community, which is called replens, which is helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. Everyday boring items that you didn't have to find on sale. You didn't have to go to some clearance aisle at Walmart. These are boring items. Quite often you're paying full retail price, but it's underserved in Amazon's catalog. So you're just sending stuff to Amazon's warehouses after paying full retail. And there are millions of examples of ASINs right now that need more units in Amazon's hundreds of warehouses because they're underserved. They're not distributed adequately across the United States. There's not enough inventory on Amazon shelves for a whole bunch of stuff. We teach you how to find that. So you're not looking for discounts and scanning barcodes and hoping to buy it for 10 and sell it for $32. Those are great. Don't walk past those deals if you see them, but that is not how you build a sustainable, scalable business on Amazon. And remember, this is just our phase one, our entry-level business model that I'm talking about today for new sellers. Once you understand the basics of this model, dozens of other doors open up for you, and you can walk through any of them and grow forward and build multiple income streams upon this foundation that you've established, including things like selling on Walmart, for example. A lot of Amazon sellers have opened Walmart selling accounts, and it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's pretty stinking close to the exact same business model. If there's something you can't sell on Amazon for some reason, you used to be able to and you can't, or you can't move your inventory for some reason, flip it over onto Walmart. It used to be eBay was that second place. Now Walmart is the second place. We've actually got a course for that as well. If you want to check it out, provenamazoncourse.com/Walmart has our Walmart seller training. But let's keep moving. You don't want to be scanning barcodes, hitting clearance aisles. Big mistake. Hamster wheel business model that taps out somewhere around $40,000 or $50,000 a year. Maybe if you really hustle as a one-man show, maybe you could do a little more than that. Scanning barcodes, hitting clearance aisles, but man, it's a churn. Okay, next, going into private label as a newbie, trying to launch your own brand. Huge mistake. There is at least a 95% failure rate among new sellers on Amazon who try to launch their own brand or launch a new product. Maybe it's someone else's product. That's irrelevant. If you're trying to bring something new to the market as a new Amazon seller, your odds of success are abysmal. There's $3,000 courses out there, $5,000, $10,000 courses who will convince you that you can source a bunch of stuff from China, put your label on it, build a beautiful brand on Amazon. No, that's never worked. It was all hype. And it's even harder now than it used to be. Don't do that as a new seller. That's just a complete waste of time. Finally, or next, I should say, selling against misbranded and generic ASINs. What's that mean? Amazon has really cracked down on making sure that the listings in their catalog are legally correct. Meaning, if you're not allowed to sell, let's say, Legos as a new seller, you're not allowed to sell Lego. If you go in and try to set up a new listing and you just misspell Lego a little bit, right? You put a couple extra letters in there, maybe you put 3 G's in there for Lego, and that helps you get through the bot that detects a misbranded ASIN. So you set it up and you start selling against it, and hey, the products are selling. This is beautiful. And some other sellers jump on there and they're selling on the ASIN too, selling that same product. Well, Amazon's going to catch it pretty quick. They're going to body slam the person that set it up and possibly body slam everybody else who's selling against that misspelled branded ASIN. That's one of about 50 things that can go wrong with a new listing, a new ASIN that you set up on Amazon. Do not set up ASINs on Amazon. Do not set up new listings if you're a new seller. Sell against existing ASINs only. Huge tip. Huge tip. And if you sell against misbranded or generic ASINs, if it says brand is generic and you know that it's not a generic brand product, you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. This is stuff that we teach in our course. We step you through it, but I'm just trying to keep you out of a ditch because there's no way you're going to know these things instinctually if no one tells you. You're not going to stumble into these things by accident unless you fall into this ditch and lose your business potentially as a result of making these mistakes. And we want to prevent that. Even if you don't spend any money with any training or courses we have, we'd love to prevent you from making a huge career-ending mistake that keeps you out of the game. All right, going too deep on any single product because you love it or for whatever reason you like it. You find it on sale. Your friend has a bunch of it. You found a warehouse deal and you're just going to go all in. I'm going to spend $4,000 and get a bunch of this thing and sell it. No. If you're buying more than, say, 10 or 15 units of anything as a new seller, you're making a mistake. If you haven't had a $30,000 month yet on Amazon and you're buying 100 or more units of anything, you are making a huge mistake. 99% chance you are making a huge mistake. I'll say that again. If you're buying more than just a handful of units of any product and you haven't had, say, a $20,000 to $30,000 month yet on Amazon, you are making a huge mistake you're going to regret later. Very few exceptions to that. Can't go into it. We'll explain why we have that philosophy in our training. We really step you through going an inch deep and a mile wide, really diversifying your risk and not overcommitting to any one product. That's how you learn the Amazon landscape. Many people insist that they're smarter than the system and they go down that path. They end up with a garage full of stuff they can't sell, suspended on Amazon, find out they had counterfeit product and didn't realize it, and someone else was able to place a bigger order and get it way cheaper than they could when they thought they had this big pricing advantage. All kinds of things can go wrong as a new seller if you're buying more than a handful of units at a time of anything. All right, going into wholesale too soon. That kind of goes on the heels of what I just said. If you think wholesale means I can buy in bulk and buy it cheaper and sell it at a better profit, if you jump into wholesale too soon, you're not going to navigate those waters well. There's too many people out there convincing new sellers that that's the way to go. It's a tragic disaster pretty much every time. We like to minimize your risk, minimize your investment, help you earn while you learn and avoid such tragic mistakes. Next, flipping liquidations, thrifts, or shelf pulls. This one goes right along with another piece on our list that I talk about, another tip on our list here in a moment that you should avoid, which is going against the wishes of the brand that you are selling on Amazon. You're going against their authorized channel, more clearly stated. So every brand out there has an authorized channel where they sell retail. And if you source from that retail or website or wholesale or distributor channel, you've got legitimate inventory and you can prove it. And Amazon has your back if you're accused of selling counterfeit because you can prove with a receipt or an invoice, I bought this from Walmart. I walked into a Target store or I walked into name the store and I bought it off the shelf. Your receipt is legit. Or you've got a wholesaler and you give the invoice. It's legit. It's only legit if the brand agrees that the source you purchased from is part of their authorized channel. And it's easy to know. You don't have to ask a brand's permission to sell their products, but you can ask them if the purchase you're about to make is from an authorized channel partner or not. The example I use frequently is Lego. I was about to buy some Lego from a major retail store. I wasn't sure if this retail store was part of Lego's authorized distribution channel. I figured they probably were, but I wasn't sure. So I got on lego.com and I said, hey, Lego, I'm about to buy a set of Legos from Kroger. That's where I was shopping. They had just a huge shelf of on sale Legos. Like, all right, I'm about to buy these, but I want to make sure that Kroger's legit authorized channel partner, that this local Kroger didn't just go buy some whole liquidation pallet somewhere and throw them on a back shelf. I wasn't sure. Well, come to find out, Lego confirmed, yes, Kroger's part of our authorized distribution channel. Any purchases you made there are authorized. You can be 100% certain that you did not just purchase stolen or fraudulent or counterfeit items. Okay, so now my receipt's good. Amazon has my back. Lego's proved it by saying they're part of their authorized channel. No worries. However, if you source somewhere that gives you a receipt or an invoice and the brand doesn't see the place where you shopped, the website, the distributor, the wholesaler, the retailer, as part of their authorized channel, now you have what is impossible for you to prove to be legal, authorized, non-counterfeit product. So if you can't prove it, Amazon doesn't have your back. You could lose your account. You could lose your inventory. You could face weeks and weeks and weeks of suspension trying to prove you're not a counterfeiter. Amazon wants only authorized inventory in their warehouse. Everything you'll buy at a Walmart is authorized. Everything you buy at a Target is authorized. Major retailers, they're all authorized. Some major retailers do mix in some shelf pulls, liquidations, and returns from other retailers. You got to be careful about those because they may or may not be recognized by the brand. When in doubt, ask the brand. 3 little simple words. When in doubt, these 3 simple words, remember them. Ask the brand. Is this store I'm about to shop at, is this website I'm about to shop at part of your authorized channel? If the brand says, yeah, they are, you're good. If the brand doesn't respond or says, no, they're not, you are taking a risk. All right. Next, anyone who says they can do it for you, come on, we're not goofy enough to fall for those, are we? Well, apparently a lot of people are. There's some thriving done for you services for Amazon sellers. Give us $30,000, we'll fill your store with profitable inventory because we've gone out and bought in bulk and we can't sell it all on our account, so we'll sell it on yours for you. Scam alert. Remember the first rule that I gave you up top? Find a large community of successful people doing whatever it is you're about to do before you do it yourself. None of these done for you services have even a single success story. Did you know that? It's all made up. It's all fake. It's all illegitimate. It's a scam. They may have a warehouse full of a lot of product, but they're not producing happy clients because they're not part of the authorized channel for that brand. If you let a bunch of inventory into your account that is not part of the authorized distribution channel for a brand that you're selling, you're in trouble. And a lot of times these companies go out and buying shelf pulls, liquidation lots, that sort of thing, and then distributing them out among a bunch of Amazon sellers. And you may be getting some sales. You may even make a little bit of money. But then those funds are going to be frozen one day and you're going to lose your Amazon account. And you say, but I use these guys and they gave me an invoice. Yeah, but they weren't selling authorized products through your account. A lot of times the reason they want other sellers to move that inventory is because it's not authorized inventory. They don't want to risk their own account. They'll risk your account. There's about 10 different ways this is a scam. And here's a big tip. Like I mentioned earlier, if they have an affiliate program, if your wholesaler has an affiliate program where they're encouraging to bring other sellers in, you see them advertising on Facebook as we buy in bulk for Amazon sellers. Run. It is a disaster. Get your money back if you spent it. Do a chargeback, get a lawyer, run. It is not an arrangement that you want to be a part of. There are zero legitimate success stories. There's even someone out there offering a $10,000 reward for anyone who has a success story based on a done for you Amazon seller business model. And to date, no one's taken them up on it. There are no happy success stories from that model. All right, going it alone goes without saying. You need a community. You will fail. I call this the number one rule of business success. If you're doing it alone, you're going to fail. Lone wolf, sitting in a dark room, typing on your keyboard, trying to figure out how to make money, you're going to fail. You're in a group, you're in a community, you're asking questions, you're hanging out, you're getting to know folks, rubbing shoulders, virtually in Zoom meetings, going to conferences like our conference coming up in May 2025. Theprovenconference.com is the website. 3 words, theprovenconference.com. Come make some friends. Those are the people that succeed and make it. There's the line in the sand. You don't have to believe me, but I've seen 10,000 students come through our coaching program, and I can think of very few exceptions to that rule. Go alone, lose. Take a team, win. It's that simple. I'm not saying go hire a bunch of people. I'm saying surround yourself with other people who are pursuing the same goals you are. It's going to encourage and equip you and inspire you. It's going to put more money in your pocket. All right, flying through the list. If you lose the mindset game, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but here's a tip. If you jump online to complain ever about anything, you typically aren't the kind of person that's going to have a winning business at some point. I don't care what it is. If you jump online to publicly complain in front of a whole bunch of people about anything, if you complain publicly about anything, that's a sign of a toxic negative mindset. Those people very rarely, I can think of no exceptions right now, people who complain publicly frequently about others or about experiences or about how things are stacked against them or whatever about other people in their life, people who complain publicly, that's just one character trait of a negative mindset. Got to be careful about that. You got to surround yourself with positivity. You got to see the future as being better than the current situation that you're in. You've got to have a faith in the future to succeed in business. And I don't have time to go into it real deep, but if you think you might be a negative person, you're not sure, guess what? You are, because being a positive person is a lot of work. You don't just kind of stumble into being an optimist. It's intentional. You got to have a lot of gratitude every day. If you don't have gratitude, you're a negative person. If you don't have a lot of gratitude every day, you're coming across as negative to a lot of people. And that's going to hurt your ability to build a successful business. All right, scrolling down, I'm going to skip a few of these. We've already talked about some of these. Setting up new ASINs for any reason, always a mistake. Using pay-per-click, always a big, big mistake for new sellers. Do not use paid advertising to try to dig yourself out of the hole you made when you bought bad inventory. Nope, you're just going to make it worse. Paid ads do not solve your problem. Do not rely on it. That's one of the reasons private label selling is such a disaster for most students, is because they buy product and they think they found a winner, and then the people teaching them says, oh, you haven't started running your paid ads yet. Well, you've got to run paid ads and spend $50 a day on ads to get some momentum. And so they start pouring more money, $50 a day, $100, $300 a day. They're not even breaking even. And it becomes a big disaster. And they look over their shoulder, they've lost $10, $20, $30, $50,000 all in, and they're just frustrated about Amazon. Paid advertising is oftentimes the the last slap in the face of a frustrated Amazon seller who throws their hands up and quits. We don't do that to new sellers here. You don't need paid ads to get into Amazon selling. If you're a new seller and you're trying to use paid ads, you are in a minefield of disaster. Don't order anything from China. Yes, this includes Temu. Yes, this includes that great friend you have who knows a guy who has a factory in China. Yeah, you went to China and you saw all the stuff and all these great shows. No, do not buy product from China to put under your own brand or to sell on Amazon as a new seller. Do not do it. 100 reasons why. You can pretend that I never said this and you can ignore me and you can get back to me a couple of years from now after you've run into a disaster. New sellers in China do not mix. 100% of the time, failure rate, disaster is coming. Don't do it. Help fill the underserved shelf space on Amazon.com in the US with boring products that are easily sourced from legit wholesalers and retailers. That's where you start. That's the replens model that we teach in the Proven Amazon course as the new seller model in our community. But if you think you're smarter than the system, you're going to run to China and buy 1,000 units of something and sell it. Hey, God bless you. I hope it works out great, but it never does for anyone else. And I don't think you're going to be the exception. Stay away from China. Being obsessed about the buy box. Man, we talk about this a lot in our community. It's just unnecessary. You're wasting time. If you're trying to win the buy box as a new seller and that's your only focus, and you think the only people winning any sales are the people winning the buy box, you're making a huge mistake. You need to have your eyes opened. I'll give you a shortcut link. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I'm going to give you a shortcut link right now. I'll be ready to write this down. I'll stick it in the show notes too. If you go to silentjim.com/BB70, that's right, BB is in buy box, then the number 7 and the number 0, BB70, you will see 200 examples of ASINs from my personal Amazon selling account that are selling above buy box. Meaning, if the typical seller is selling a product for $30 to $33 and the buy box bounces around $30 to $33, you're thinking to yourself, well, unless I sell this product for $30 to $33, I'm never going to make any sales. Wrong. I give you 200 examples from my Amazon selling account where on that same ASIN that's selling for between $30 and $33 in the buy box for most other sellers, I'm selling it for $42 consistently or even more. There's huge opportunities if you learn to recognize the underserved shelf space in Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. You don't have to worry about buy box. You can experiment. Now, we love winning the buy box, don't get me wrong. And if you see product that you can sell profitably at buy box, go for it. We love those. They're a little harder to find, though, initially, especially. But you can find underserved shelf space where you can send in a few test units, sell them at really nice margins, and get your momentum going that way. It's a great new seller strategy that we love around here. Next, if you don't understand Keepa, you're in over your head as a new seller. You simply must be trained on the new seller strategies that are taught with using Keepa, the tool called Keepa. Go to silentjim.com/KEEPA, Keepa, and you can see more about what that tool is. Although they don't train you how to use it there, it's a tool that scrapes Amazon and just a big database of data. But once you know how to read Keepa through a replens lens, as we originated and created in our community, as we've continued to perfect and teach, even the most advanced Keepa sellers are always learning new things. There's so many ways to mine and massage this data, but the basics we can teach you pretty quick. And if you're not using it, you're making terrible inventory purchase decisions. Get into the Proven Amazon course, take the new seller training, learn the basics of Keepa. Otherwise, you are at an extreme disadvantage. Next, obsessing over being ungated. We hear this one so much, and it's just not the big deal that everyone makes it out to be. As a new seller, you're going to be frustrated because there's a lot of stuff you just can't sell because you're gated. And Amazon's going to say, hey, buy 10 units, get an invoice, and we might ungate you. So they go around buying 10 units and pursuing invoices and get very frustrated because they're piling up 10 units at a time, all this different product that they don't know what to do with. That's not the way to do it. Go to silentjim.com/ungating to get some great tips on getting ungated as a new seller. And also, podcast episode, I believe it was 925. I'm going to confirm that real quick because I'm talking to you. Brian and Robin Joy did a recent podcast episode about getting ungated. That was one of the big topics. I'm actually scrolling into our podcast right now, and I'm going to tell you the exact number because it's important, and you're going to want to write this down. It was 925. Yep. And along with a couple other topics in episode 925, Brian and Rob Joy talk about getting ungated as a new seller. And then silentjim.com/ungating as well. Two good resources for you. Don't obsess over being ungated. It's going to happen organically. If you sell a few things that you're allowed to sell, things will fall in place. Not knowing your numbers is a big deal. You don't want to get overconfident and think, well, I paid 10, it sold for 20, I made money, right? Well, you need to know your fees, your materials. There's a lot of expenses that go into that. There is a tool called Seller Board that we like around here. You can go to silentjim.com/numbers, plug it in. It's easy to set up. You don't have to pick up any new skills. And it's going to tell you on an ASIN by ASIN basis, after it knows what you paid, it's going to tell you, hey, here's all the expenses. Was it profitable or not? You'll often be shocked which of your ASINs, which of your listings are the most profitable ones you're selling against. Don't get lured in by easy button software tools. We've talked about this a little bit. There's no easy button software tools. There's no magic formula. It's all going to be work. Next, I've already talked about this one a little bit too. Don't trust any sales pitches if there's no community of successful sellers in that community discussing the strategies. If you can't find the community, ignore the opportunity. I just came up with that. That works really well. If you can't find the community, ignore the opportunity. If there's no community of successful people pursuing the opportunity you're considering, run. I know I've said it a couple times already, but it's such a big one. It's such an important one. I've brought it up many times, but it's going to really help you out if you pay attention to that and heed that warning. Okay, buying leads lists is a huge mistake. You can pay people, $50, $100, $500 and say, hey, just tell me what to buy. Someone do the research for me. Tell me what to buy. For a whole host of reasons, that is a tragic, terrible idea. If you're new, if you're an experienced seller, you can comb through and maybe grow your list of ASINs that you're monitoring and tracking and keeping an eye on. And you'll know how a whole bunch of other people are looking at this right now. So I'm going to wait a few weeks, a few months, and then revisit, keep my eye on it. One of the beautiful things about the system that we've built, the Replens software system built by Kang, a great leader on our team. Remember, I said silentjim.com/the system is where you go to check it out. It monitors your ASINs for you and tells you when it's time to get in and get out of them, how much inventory to get in. It's monitoring Keepa for you at all times on your ASINs. Huge, huge advantage for sellers to use something like that. But if you think you're just going to buy a list of ASINs and go spend money on them and send them into Amazon and make money and simplify it all down by letting someone else do the research for you and you just buy the list, nope, that's not how it works. That is not how the Replens game is played. Finally, if you spend time looking for profitable products instead of test-worthy ASINs, you're going to be frustrated. And I mentioned that a little bit when we were talking about scanning barcodes. That is not the way to build a great business. You don't want to be scanning barcodes. You want to be looking for underserved shelf space. You don't want to be looking for profitable products. You want to be looking for test-worthy ASINs. Huge difference between the two. That's what we teach in our courses and content. But if you spend time on YouTube, they're going to talk to you about scanning barcodes and looking for profitable products. That is a complete frustration business model, in my opinion. We see a lot of people get frustrated and think they know what it means to sell on Amazon, but they've never been exposed to the true opportunities. All right, that's the list. There's a few more I could add, but I think I'm done for now. It's been a while since I did an episode like this, so that list has grown. It's a little more robust than it used to be. But if you can avoid the things that I just encourage you to avoid as a new seller, you are well on your way to building a beautiful business. You can certainly learn over time and do it yourself and experiment without making those mistakes, and you'll do great. But if you want to go further faster, consider getting a course that steps you through it, or better yet, let's have a conversation. See if maybe a coach or a mentor makes more sense to you, because you will go so much further, so much faster if you have somebody helping you stay in the guardrails, know where all the important curves are, where all the opportunities are, which tools you do and don't need, and helps you ramp up nice and steady, earning while you learn, going at your own pace. Man, it's a beautiful thing. We've got over 60 coaches on our team, and these are all successful students who've built beautiful businesses and currently run beautiful businesses using the strategies we teach here. And we'd love to get you connected with one of them to help mentor you. Find out more by going to silentjimdotcom/book a call. There's a text number there. You can text us right now if you want to have a conversation or schedule a time and let's chat in the near future. All right, this has been a powerful episode, I think, especially if you're new around here. I really hope you heed this advice. Go back and listen to it again as you get ramped up, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. If you're new, listen to it. It'll make more sense then. Some of the terminology and some of this will start to click. But man, if we can keep you from making some mistakes, some big mistakes early on, you're going to build a beautiful business and build multiple income streams and be proud of what you've accomplished in just a few short months from now. God bless you, business building warrior. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We'll have another great episode for you very soon.